Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Wednesday evening, guys. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. Got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Wednesday, guys. So, guys, I have a really full day tomorrow, so I'm not going to be able to get a recording in the morning. So, I figured I would post one this evening. And to those of you who are still up, maybe you'll hear it. If not, those of you who are early birds, you will hear it tomorrow. And that is every single person that God sends to you is not someone you're supposed to be in relationships with or even married to. Sometimes God will send people to you and He wants to use you as a vessel. And that can branch off in different areas, of course. Maybe when He uses you as a vessel, and let's just say that this person does find God through you or healing through you, and then maybe God will say after the fact, well, this is your kingdom partner. This is your boo thing, your wife, whatever. But there are times where God will send people to us, and because the flesh jumps ahead so quickly, we don't even realize that it's a spiritual assignment. So again, it could transfer to something after the fact, or maybe excuse me, God just want to use you as a vessel to get this person on the right. Like you're planting the seed. You may even potentially water it and it may sprout somewhere else. But when the flesh jumps ahead of God and now you meet this chick and oh, she's fine, she's this, she's that, or this dude, blase, 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 blase. And now that flesh is involved, which means emotions are now involved. So if God even wanted to use you, you couldn't even hear Him because you're too busy bickering about who didn't answer their phone or, who ain't come home or whatever. So all that bickering, right? All that fussing and that arguing because the flesh is now involved, the emotions are not involved. You couldn't hear from God if you wanted to. Now instead, you run back to God to try to figure out, Lord, my heart is breaking. Please tell this girl I'm not there to hurt her. I know her father wasn't there. I know the men before me hurt her. Could you please tell her that I'm a good man? God's like, you won't come holler at me now, right? I could assure her you was a good man if you could just tame your flesh. And then if I potentially opened that door for relationship status, she would have known you was a good man because I use you as a vessel to begin with, right? She would have learned to trust you within that process. But no, you and your little hot tamale self, or to my good sis, you meet an individual and I don't know, maybe he'd never loved a woman in his life. And the one time he chose to give his heart to a woman, right? She broke his heart. The one woman. And after that, he swore up and down. That was it. His heart got broken one time. It will never, ever, ever happen again. He will never love again. He will never give somebody a chance again. And here God is knocking on your door. Sis, I know you're solid, right? I know the gifts I've given to you. So I know you can get this job now. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, right? But if you can get this job done, as I use you as a vessel, and you will eventually lead him back to me, or I'll show you how to maneuver within the process that's going to slowly but surely start pulling his bricks down one at a time. And when he starts to run because he's starting to feel some feeling, you just stay planted. You don't go and retaliate. You don't go and play tit for tat, right? You don't reciprocate his energy. You stay planted. So as human beings, we want to get the information after the fact. But once that flesh is involved, you already know what it is, especially when it's coming from individuals who've experienced trauma, heartbreak, etc., etc. You start getting blamed for things you don't have anything to do with. Now, you're blaming me. I'm just at Walmart picking up some Texas Pete because you asked me to fry some wings tonight, right? I left my phone in the car, sir. Kizzy, I left my phone inside the car by accident. Right. I just came. I ran in here right quick, grabbed some Texas Pete. You said you want me to fry some wings. I didn't answer my phone. And now I'm somewhere cheating because your ex-wife cheated on you. Lord have mercy. But if you controlled and tamed that flesh prior and allow God to downloads to you certain way to move, meaning, listen, when he starts tripping or she starts tripping, you don't listen. I'm going to tell you how to move strategically. And it's not going to be flesh. It's going to be downloads in the spiritual realm. And before you know it, if you follow my lead, this person will then start to see you as the person exactly the way I sent you. Meaning you will see the person through God's eyes. Because no flesh is involved. So someone asked me, I think in the comment section I was conversing with, asked me, she said she knew without a doubt there was an assignment. Flesh got involved. They dated, for like 4 months or whatever. And chaos, which typically that's what it is, because it's like the whole assignment is disturbed. So she was asking me if I think somehow that could be corrected, and of course only God can answer that. From my experience, because I transparent moment, right? I've experienced that once. It only took me one time, because let me tell you something, my friends. If God entrust you with something, or if he giving you a download about something he needs you to complete or do, right? It's because he trusts you to do it. It's because there are certain gifts he's giving you to complete that task. So he know you're capable of doing it. If you mess around and allow your flesh to get in the way, and now the whole assignment is all in chaos, you guys are in World War III. You couldn't even hear God if you wanted to. It's just too much chaos. Your emotions are all over the place. You're trying to defend yourself. They're accusing you this. You're accusing. Just drama. Because it was never meant to be that. At least not yet. Maybe after the fact. Because many times it could truly just be an assignment to start with. And then when that person goes through a healing process, as you're used as a vessel to find their way back to God, etc., then okay, wow, job well done. Now this person knows how to trust. So now y'all do what y'all do. But she was asking me, do I feel like even though they're in the middle of like World War III, like that's where they are now, it's almost like, well, God can God forgive and correct the situation? Because she really wants to get the assignment complete. She wants to pull back on the flesh and get the assignment complete. Well, sis, I don't know. Again, only God can answer that. But a lot of times when you mess around and you already gave somebody a taste, respectfully, we're all growing here. Like, listen, and you're trying to sit here and, I don't know, read the Bible or sit here and just like pour into them, and y'all having a meeting of the minds, and now you want him to just not see you at all fleshly ever, like it never even existed. I don't know if that's possible. I know some people can. I can do that, but that's not your average person, right? You've already opened up Pandora's box. And particularly because you're saying that you guys are in this World War III right now, and like you guys are just fighting all the time, and jealousy is there. Sometimes God will pull it back and say, listen, I forgive you, but you mess this one up. You mess this one up, I'll find somebody else, to get the job done. Because let me tell you, honey, God got to back up. You ain't the only person, right? He already knows us anyway, right? But I don't know. All I can say is from the one time I experienced it, and trust me, I got dealt with real good. I got to, this was years ago. Let me be clear here. This is years ago, but and this is why I'm very, 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 very firm and very open with certain assignments now, right? When I start to see, because that's what will happen a lot of times, especially when you're called to the opposite sex. You start to open people up when God is using you. You start to open people up, and because they're already vulnerable, because they're already hurt, they will think, "Oh my, I love you, sir." Sir, sit down. You don't love me. You don't know me, right? Your emotions are just raw. Your spirit is open. You're dealing with a heartbreak. So in your mind, the first way to get over her is to think you love me. You don't love me, sir. Trust me when I tell you, you don't love me, right? So you got to be very, very firm on how, and this can cause a lot of pushback. Sir, 5 o'clock is your limit when calling my phone, right? I'm talking about assignments now. So I'm talking about certain things, right? But if you're not solid on that, it can cause a lot of issues. And then ultimately, again, certain emotions are now involved, anger, et cetera, et cetera. And now they're looking at you side eye because they thought they developed some type of feelings with you. In reality, God was just using you as a vessel, and now they don't even want to talk to you because you can't go to lunch with me. Sir, I'm not here to go to lunch with you. I'm here to get these demons out. Sir, I'm trying to help you fight these demons, and you sit there and want to take me to lunch. I ain't got time for that. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. I'm here to do the Lord's work, okay? You got a narcissist. You're telling me about this narcissist. She's driving you crazy. She done put roots on you. And you want to take me to lunch for what? For that stuff to jump on me? The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. Now you're going to sit at this table and you're going to hear what the Lord has to say, sir. So to those of you who are called to the opposite sex, and I'm sure you already know this, that you got to be very, very firm on certain things because it's very, very easy for those lines to get crossed when people are already hurting and already dealing with like abandonment wounds and rejection wounds. They will tend to think that that's what you're doing when you have to be very firm to be sure that you are allowing God to do what God needs to do. So in my opinion, I don't know. God can do anything, but I know for me, no, it just wouldn't work once it happened. So, but again, I just wanted to share that because I think it's important to, if you really, really think back on some of the individuals that you may have encountered during your lifetime, was that really supposed to be a relationship? Was that really supposed to be a marriage? Or do you feel like you could have reached this person more? You could have really been a vessel and helped them more if you guys didn't get the emotional side involved. And again, it's possible that God can use you as a vessel, lead this person back to God or help them through a healing season. And ultimately God says, job well done. So do what you do, boo. Make it do what it do. And that will be probably the best relationship or marriage you've ever had. Because remember, in the beginning process, you've already learned everything you really need to know within the spiritual realm, right? So that level of trust has been built before you guys decide to make it official. I hope this helps you guys. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.